iPad so I can watch Discord because I know John does a terrible job at it.
I'm right here. I've got it. It's right there.
Yeah. Get my iPad.
Why do I got to put up with this? What are you doing?
It's this one right here. I just unplugged my stuff.
Jesus.
All right.
How do you get Discord on your iPad?
You install the Discord app.
I actually tried installing it. When I tried logging in from here, it wouldn't let me.
It won't let you log in?
No, because it came up and said, "Are you a robot?" And I hit the checkbox to prove I was a human. And
it said bullshit?
Yeah.
You failed a CAPTCHA?
Yeah.
Well, that's the title of this podcast. John can't prove he's a human.
My wife would agree.
Well, I expected that. I need Aussie. God damn it.
You are failing at this.
No, I'm not.
I started recording way too early.
Yeah, whatever. Discord. 3 2 7. Don't help me or anything. 272. Thank you.
Who can't remember 6 digits in a row?
Jeez. Don't judge me. What? I don't know.
Where are you?
Where am I? Exactly. Where are the freaking Oh, there. Oh, check that out. All right.
How do you do anything?
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right.
What episode are we on?
129.
129, baby.
Hello, and welcome to PHP Ugly episode 129. I'm your host, John Congdon. With me in person is Eric Van Johnson.
I can touch you.
You can. I thought we were going to record from the bed, but you said no.
I said no the moment you said that the clothes were staying on, of course.
Oh.
It seemed pointless to be in bed with my clothes on.
True.
I don't understand.
I'm sorry. Should we introduce the other guy over there?
Well, he's not here in the hotel with us.
That's true.
Thomas Rideout.
Hey.
Sorry you're not here with us. We invited you.
Yeah, that didn't
aren't you
happen,
here,
actually.
Thomas?
I'm at home wrestling teenagers and teenage problems.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
So we are recording. The listeners asked for it, and we said, you know what? We're giving it to them. They want us to record earlier on the East Coast, so John and I flew out to the East Coast just to record for you guys in your time zone. You're welcome, East Coasters.
This is your Patreon money at work.
That's right. I mean, we only had enough Patreon money for one ticket, so John had to fly in the luggage. But
I got here.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Everybody's here. That's all that's important.
The low pressure air is good for his heart.
All right. So we are recording a little early this week because John and I are in Ashburg, Virginia.
Is it Ashburg?
Is it Ashburg?
I don't know.
I'm going with Ashburg, Virginia.
All I know is it's like right outside the Dulles Airport.
Yeah, we attended PHP World this week, which has been entertaining. So, Thomas?
Yeah, no,
Are you with us?
I am. I didn't attend it, so I don't have like a comment on it.
I mean, John and I, we've been hanging out all week, so I mean,
I'm kind of sick of talking to
we
this
don't
guy.
really have a whole lot to say to each other. If you want to pipe in at any moment, that would be helpful.
Eric, you did the duties of editing the podcast last week. How'd that go?
Oh, that was a dirty edit. Yeah, why? Did somebody complain?
No, I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, okay.
I was leading into the reason why.
Oh, yeah. So unfortunately, I guess you had some system malfunction issues. And Thomas reached out to me basically on Monday, my last day in San Diego, as we had a bunch of stuff happening, and asked or was it Monday or Sunday? I don't know. Anyways, asked me to edit the podcast. I'm like, I don't really have time to do it. So I ended up cheating. I ended up just grabbing the stream off of YouTube, which is what I typically do for Lair Chat. And I just sliced that together real quick because, oh yeah, that's right. Last week it was just you and I, and you actually had an issue recording.
Yeah.
You had to end up making 2 recordings.
Ran out of disk space during the recording.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So I luckily got the audio sorted out, but yeah. Then on Saturday, I was watching a YouTube video, and in the middle of Hank Green talking to me about science, the screen went pink, and the audio went brrrr.
Almost never good.
Yeah. So diagnosing it for the next 3 days. The boot SSD I was using is dead, the video card is dead, and the motherboard is dead.
What in the world did you do to that thing?
It was just a mass suicide, apparently.
Yeah.
Poor laptops was like, we're all taking our lives.
Well, so this was my desktop. I have a laptop that I use exclusively for work stuff. It's really cordoned off, except for Synergy, which lets me use the same mouse and keyboard between the two. But it's work-only stuff. I don't do any Reddit browsing or YouTube videos or anything, and that was all I was.
Strictly for porn.
Yeah, strictly for porn. The desktop is older than my children. I had pieced it together in the area of 11 years ago, and.
Wow. Obviously upgrading components along the way.
A little bit along the way, but it was a very high-end system when I built it. It's not anymore. It's trash now. But it had been on its last legs for a while. I had bought an exhaust fan to alleviate CPU overheating, and then a second exhaust fan to alleviate video card overheating. So it sounded like a jet engine. Which did make sleeping in my bedroom after it broke more difficult because I had just grown so accustomed to it. But yeah, it definitely died a horrible death. I was able to get the important data off of it through a lengthy recovery process. But oddly enough, it was the same day that I received my brand new laptop for my work and got cables for that to hook up to my monitors. So I'm now running my brand new laptop as my desktop machine in my desktop machine's place and using my old laptop to continue doing my work stuff and get my new laptop up to speed with work. And yeah, it was quite a trip to lose all of my media, all of my games.
So are you all Windows now?
I'm all Ubuntu now, 18.04.
All Ubuntu now.
Yeah, that was my Windows machine, Windows 7.
So what's the new one you get? Was it a IBM? Was it a ThinkPad or a System 76?
HP.
HP. Oh.
Yeah. 64 gigs of RAM.
Nice.
You know, I'm doing development in Chrome. I've got to have that extra memory space.
I have 64 gigs in my desktop, and I just don't feel like I get 64 gigs worth of performance out of it.
I agree.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. It's nice and quick. It's sleek. It's using a USB-C dock. So I've got the dock sitting completely elsewhere on the desk from where the laptop is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's plugged straight into the dock instead of into the... It's very nice. I like the USB-C stuff.
Cool.
And since I'm sort of using it as my personal machine now, I've actually taken the effort to do all of the Linux customization stuff that I hadn't done since I was 18 years old. Getting the nice transparent screens and animations and all the effects working. One of the big ones was my mute button. So I have a button I had on my Windows machine, a button where I could just mute my mic instantly. Doing that in Ubuntu was a little more difficult.
But you figured it out, I hope.
Yeah, I had to write a bash script that would toggle the ALSA mixer, and then I used xbind keys to call the bash command, and the bash command sends a notification message so that I get a little pop-up on my screen that says you've muted the mic or you've unmuted the mic.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's nice. Getting that full-time Linux thing back in my hands. It's very satisfying.
So no more gameplay, right? No more League of Extraordinary Rocket Cars or whatever it is you play.
No, that's
on his other machine out in the living room.
That's my living room machine.
Oh, damn.
Still plenty of Rocket League, baby.
Hey, what's everybody been up to this? We've had a rough week. We had a rough week. Just issues. We had AWS issues this week, so that was fun. Always fun trying to talk. Our AWS issues were so extreme. We actually engaged AWS support, and
we went through levels,
hours of support.
I didn't know that was such a thing.
Yeah,
we kept getting different departments jumping in. At the end, we had two different departments.
And let's be clear, they all absolutely knew what they were talking about. I mean, they were all top-level support people. They were flying through the issues, the troubleshooting steps, and everything that could be wrong. They were just flying through it. We just had some weirdness going on in our AWS environment, and even the specialists. It boiled down to our auto-scaling stuff, and even the auto-scaling specialist who stayed on the phone with us, like I said, for hours, was just working through it and just like, okay, that's not right. Let's see why that's happening.
Finally, it was uncheck this one box and try again.
Yeah, well, basically, it was rebuild the configuration and let's start unchecking things. But yeah, it was. I tell you, man, AWS support is pretty top notch. I have no complaints, but I do. It is so stressful when that environment goes down and you can't get it up.
And you got clients just bitching that things are down, wondering how long it's going to be before they're back up. Was not fun.
Oh, God, I'm so glad I'm not in operations.
I know. I tell you, it's not a pretty world to be in. And the toughest thing about us is, we're all developers. I mean, we do operations because out of necessity, but it's nobody's full-time position. It's nobody's focus. And yeah, it's tough, man.
And then on top of that, we had another issue today with a billing issue, which just
unfortunately that was human error on our part. So
you say our part like you don't want people to know it was your part.
Well, here's the sad and funny thing. It happened to us a year ago?
Yeah,
maybe a little more. And I immediately wrote a fix. So that when it happened again and I opened a pull request, guess what? It was still open yesterday.
I'm like, when our lead developer came back to us and explained to us the situation, I responded. I'm like, that couldn't be. John wrote a patch a year ago so that wouldn't happen. And he's like, oh, you mean this PR? It's like still sitting out there.
You should have stopped yourself at John wrote a PR.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Those things get accepted like lightning quick.
We do have one PR just as just part of celebration. We have one PR from John that we keep open. That's probably going on 2 years now. We're trying to beat his record of how long a PR has been open with other clients.
Well, I mean, isn't his current record 3 years?
No, yeah, we're not close yet. no, it's gonna take some time. So, but yeah, we had a good time. despite all that, we had a good time at the conference.
I won a door prize. I get to come back to the PHP World next year for free.
He couldn't have won
Nice.
anything like valuable, like the Switch they were giving away, but whatever. He got tickets. So John will be back.
I told him the tickets cost more than the Switch. I can go buy a Switch now.
Yeah, try to scalp those tickets. See how that works out for you.
So Eric doesn't understand the cost value relationships between things.
Yeah, John knows this.
He's all about the things.
John knows. I see something. I'm like, John, it happened today. I told John, I'm like, John, there's something I want to buy. John's like, what now? We can't talk about that though. That's secret.
This is okay. The secret that we're keeping from Tom.
No. That's another secret. No, yeah, we have multiple secrets we're keeping from you right now. The other one
will be coming out soon.
Very soon.
Yeah. The contract's signed. Like we could talk about it, but we still want to put some bows on things.
Yeah. But it's gonna be cool. I'm very excited about it. Super excited. It's a product, so it's gonna be fun.
Do you guys see the announcement for Laracon?
I did. How do you feel about that?
New York City, man.
New York City. So Laracon 2019 was going to be held in New York City. It was in Chicago this year. It was New York last year.
Of the year.
Was it the year before?
No, it was last year.
No, it was last year. Yeah. It was New York last year, Chicago this year, and they're going back to New York. And I tell you, that New York, man, that carries a hefty price tag. And on top of it, the price of the conference is not exactly cheap. And I still stand by my statement that those facilities that they have out there, like the theaters, they're beautiful theaters. They're great for 2-hour plays, but they're not designed for, 600 geeks to sit there for 8 hours a day.
Now, what is the venue this year? Is the PlayStation Theater? Yeah.
So I don't know.
Taylor got one of the big LED billboards for Laracon.
Yeah, what is that? What's that going to do? What's it going to show?
Laracon.
Okay. I mean, it's cool. I'm not going to. Hey, if I could
it's really cool.
If I could get DiegoDev logos flashed up on a New York City billboard, I would definitely do it. I mean, it's definitely awesome. But I just
imagine the cost of that.
The people who would appreciate it are going to be in the conference if that's what it's showing. So a bunch of random people on the street are going to look up and go, well, "What's that?" I don't know. I think
that's the point though with advertising, is when people see it, they go, "I wonder what that is."
Yeah, but that's if they could go to it, like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like it's a Laravel conference happening at that time. It's not like they're going to go home and say, "Hey, honey, I saw this billboard ad. I think I want to go to this conference tomorrow." That won't happen.
I don't think it is during the event. I think it's before the event.
Okay, all right, maybe that's what's going to happen.
More power to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but that's just turns into such an expensive trip. I don't see me doing that next year. It would, as much as I love New York, I'd go back to New York, but then to add the additional cost of the conference on top of it, that's a hard sell for the wife. And I'm talking about John here.
Yes, the only man that Eric will share a hotel bed with.
Better be the only man.
That's right.
Oh my!
That freaked me out for a minute. I almost thought that was here. That's funny. Who the hell's in our room? For listeners to the show, if you're not watching the video stream, we're in a different setup. John and I are in a hotel room. We're in the same room, and we're watching Thomas, and Thomas's wife walked behind him, and it completely disoriented me. I thought somebody was in our room behind us, and it freaked me the hell out. I mean, that was like a horror movie.
Again.
It was like that girl who comes out of the television screen. I'm not saying your wife is not attractive or anything. It's just the way it all happened. It's like, what's going on? Who is this person in our room? Oh,
yeah, you
man.
can tell that I'm recording early tonight because you can hear one of my sons downstairs screaming at Fortnite, my daughter downstairs screaming at her best friends, and my son upstairs using the bathroom every 5 minutes.
Oh, can't hear any of that, but thank you.
Yes. If it makes you feel any better, none of it's coming through the feed. So
I'll make sure it pops in the final edit.
So I got to experience, that's not exactly true. So it snowed here today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was nice. They mentioned yesterday at the conference, they're like, hey, they're calling for snow tomorrow. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. So I woke up like 6 in the morning, and like a little kid
excited.
Opened up his.
I haven't done coke in years.
But it was nice to be somewhere where it snowed. I mean, I was going to say it's been years for me, but I do think I see the snow every year. I mean, as weird as it sounds, in San Diego, to get to the snow during the winter can be as short of a drive as a 45-minute drive up to this place called Julian. If you want to go skiing, Big Bear is only like a 2-hour drive or a little bit more. So getting to
Julian is the best.
Yeah. And getting to snow in San Diego isn't that hard, but to kind of be somewhere and it snow on you it's been a while since that's happened. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the snow. I enjoy the cold weather.
Yeah, my kids had a snow day on Monday, and that was super.
Yeah. You don't sound so convincing.
Got lots of work done.
Very convincing.
It's very peaceful.
Did they help you do some cooking?
No, they didn't. They still. Only my oldest son has accidentally seen the website I work on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Was that by accident, or was it take your kid to work day or something?
Yeah, that was by accident. In case CPS is listening.
Jeez. But I'm sure all the kids know then.
But they forget quickly.
Yeah.
They generally just know that they're not allowed to be in the room while I'm working. Oh boy. Yeah. I have parental controls on my son's computer, so it shuts off automatically at 10 o'clock. But it's not yet 10 o'clock here, so he's screaming quite a bit, driving me crazy.
Are your headphones not noise canceling?
No, they're closed back, so it should work well. But what it ends up doing is it takes the small sounds I hear and makes me think they're huge explosions in the house. So every couple minutes, I'm ducking out to see what just exploded and who's crying. And it's nice.
I throw noise canceling headphones on. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I almost am uncomfortable when I'm trying to record if I don't have my headphones on. Even if everybody is out of the house, I still put my headphones on.
Because you still hear like buzzings and stuff.
It's not even that. It's almost like having that pressure on my head at that point. It just feels weird.
Can't record PHP Ugly without feeling your head's been squeezed a little bit.
That's true. Kind of feeling weird right now. Headphones in my ear. Or earbuds.
I mean, this is feeling really weird. Like, this is the closest we've been in a very long time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's believing that.
All right, you want to hear a funny story?
I do.
We fly out here to PHP World. We leave San Diego and we have a layover in Detroit. And it turns out our plane is like landing, and basically the plane that we have to connect to is boarding, or we think it's boarding. So John and I, first thing, Detroit Airport. I don't know how bad the city of Detroit is, Their airport is pretty freaking awesome, and it's huge. It's massive. John and I are like running through the airport. We're jumping on trains. We're flying through the airport, and we get to our our other plane. And of course, everybody's getting ready to board, and they start boarding, and we all get on, and we're running a little late. But finally, they start to pull out, and they're pulling on the runway. And then something happens, and then they pull back in, and they're like, "Yeah, there's an issue. Something got tangled into the front of the plane. We can't get it out. We're going to ask the first 15 passengers to get off the plane to lighten up the load on the nose of the plane."
On the strut.
Yeah. And of course, John and I are within that first 15 passenger threshold.
Wow.
So we they start getting off, and not everybody's getting off. People are trying to pick up their stuff, and it's really weird, but I'm one of the ones that get off. John is left behind because by this time he's drunk off his ass. He's trying to find his phone. Well, apparently me getting off the plane was enough, because I get off the plane and they're able to fix everything. And they're like, "Sir, you can come back on now."
It's called the Van Johnson effect.
Oh, God. I'm like, yeah. I'll feel over. And it's like, it was funny because it's like they were tempting us off the plane with snacks. You come to the door like you're leaving the plane, and there's a tray of snacks there, and there's a guy like, "Come on, we have you can come here and have some crackers." I'm like, "Okay."
Are you sure it was really the first 15 people, or that was just the most polite way to get you off the plane?
Yeah, no, I think I was the 15th, and they're like right there to that guy right there, the big guy. Just get him off the plane, and we'll be good.
How many people are in front of him? That's how many need to get off.
Oh man! So I come back, and I thought they were joking. Literally, I get off the plane, and it's 2 minutes.
Yeah. A handful of people got off the plane. I realized I left my phone in the seat, so I headed back in right as the pilot said, "Oh, everything's fixed." So I just sat down and just waited.
So it's like, "Oh yeah, it's fixed." And I walk back in, and John's just sitting in the chair. I'm like, "Shut up! Don't say a word."
Eric's got his cheeks packed with cheese and crackers like a chipmunk.
It's like a chipmunk. I got shit coming out of my shirt, they said I could have all I wanted.
One of the wheels for the snack trays hidden in his pocket.
Oh man. Always fun. Always fun traveling. Jeez.
We're had to record early tonight. One, because we're East Coast, and two, our flight tomorrow morning is bright and early. So
Yeah, what time are you flying out?
Flight leaves at 8, so we're going to have to leave the hotel around 6. It's going to be miserable.
So it looks like we have a couple of people listening to us. Let's see, who's this? G-Shoe and Discord. He says he has a fun fact. Discord asked me to click a gazillion captchas pics before letting me in. Apparently, I can't watch YouTube and Discord at the same time on the iPad. Horse shit. That was, woo. Yeah, man. Matt says it's still snowing up in the Toronto area there.
Yeah. So the whole captcha thing was, it was complaining about the network. I don't know if something was blocked or just having too many people on the network. It was weird.
Yeah. We recorded a PHP podcast today as well. That was cool because we actually got to record with Oscar, the editor-in-chief of PHP Architect.
That's nice.
So that was fun.
Did you use his setup? Because it took you guys half an hour to get your laptop working for this session.
No, we pretty much used the same setup. we got all extravagant. Like John brought his mic out, and we had this idea of hooking up all the mics and using Audio Hijack to manage everything. And end of day, none of it worked out.
End of day, it was the four of us in a big room with one mic.
And so a lot of echoing.
Very echoey.
Yeah.
Just like it probably is right now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Oh, so if you listened to last week's show and you noticed the bad audio, that's what I was talking about earlier. I did a quick little dirty edit to that where I just downloaded basically the YouTube stream and I edited the audio out of that. So sorry for everybody who has expected more from us. We'll do better, but it won't be this show apparently.
If you expected more from us, lesson learned.
I'm glad I missed last week.
So, Frick Mers.
Yes.
Frick Vanderherten posted an interesting article on how PHP conferences can be improved. Did you guys see this?
I haven't seen it, but I heard people talking about it.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to. It's weird the way that's happening because we had already agreed that was going to be the next topic on the next Layer Chat Live that we had, because we're working on putting together Wave PHP 2019, and I was curious about some of the pros and cons and things that people are looking for in conferences, both from speakers and attendees, and I think we had like a good panel for that on Layer Chat Live. But then literally this week, that article came out, and now a lot more people are talking about it. So I'm curious. I didn't read the whole thing. Anything special about it, or?
Well, it's a lot of very bold declarations.
Oh,
yeah. The first one is shorten the talk length.
I thought that one was weird. And somebody else, we ran into JMac here at PHP World. He kind of had the same opinion of seeing 20, 30-minute talks.
Well, he specifically said like 35.
35?
30, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Really?
See, my big thing is so many speakers come up short anyway. On a 50-minute talk, they're often ending at 30 minutes, or they're adding filler just to get to that hour mark.
So if you had a 30-minute talk, right? I mean, you would need to wrap it up in 20 if you wanted to take questions.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of his last points as well. Is
for 20 minutes.
Q&A.
Don't do Q&A. Don't do Q&A.
That's one of his other suggestions.
That doesn't make sense.
I can see some points to that, but there's often times where you do learn through that Q&A process.
Absolutely.
But there's also plenty of times where speakers like, does anyone have any questions? Please ask me a question. It's awfully quiet up here. I need a question.
I see that a lot.
Yeah. Nice people in the audience that ask questions just to ask a question.
I don't know. I think 30 minutes just seems so short.
Well, what he says here is that by clipping out the Q&A, 30 minutes is really 40 minutes. And that when he gives talks at conferences, he usually says, if you have questions, meet up with me in front of the stage. I'll be hanging out for a few minutes. Ask me anything you want. We'll have a little group of people talking, and those will be the people that are interested.
To say that you're approachable, but for people who are sitting in the audience and somebody asks a question, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a good question. How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. And what's the purpose? Just to get more speakers?
Well, he says that he believes most of the people who stay for the Q&A session aren't actually interested in the Q&A questions. They're just staying out of a politeness to the presenter. That the talk really isn't over until the Q&A is finished. And that for things to move more fluidly, it's easier to have a room aside for Q&A, or to have people come up to you during the conference individually, or as a group afterwards.
I am a fan. I've seen a few speakers do this, and I think I try to do it as well, but I don't know how successful I am. I am a fan of speakers who wrap up their talk, who show, here's all the slides here, everybody applauds, thanks for the talk, and then say, are there any questions, or do you want to stick around for questions? Otherwise, you're welcome to leave. I have seen that before. But I don't know.
Yeah, I like Matt's idea of having a mixture.
Yeah. Now, a lot of this ties into other points that he makes, such as having a master of ceremonies, having somebody guiding the single track that he recommends.
I was just saying that's also if you buy into his, it should all be a single track too.
Yeah. Although, I mean, at Wave PHP, there are 2 of you and 2 tracks. You could have an MC per room.
I will say, I mean, initially that was my favorite part of Lyricon, was it was a single track. But I'm starting to grow out of that a little bit. I mean, I do like the fact that there isn't a debate on what talk you're going to see. You know, if you get a spot, you sit in that spot, and that becomes your spot for the conference. But I don't know. I've noticed the last couple of Laricons, specifically, that's actually the only single track conference I go to. There's just been too many big gaps of talks of I'm just not interested in that. That's not something that appeals to me, and I don't know. It's just there's a lack of choice, and
well, that goes back to the half-hour talks. I mean, if there's a talk you're not interested in, at least it's only a half an hour.
Well, you keep trying to sell me on it. I'm not there yet.
Matt Lance is on board here too.
Matt doesn't know shit. Don't listen to Matt.
Jesus Christ.
He's just happy that he's not completely drunk off his ass trying to listen to this one live. No, we love Matt more than you'll ever know. Matt, do you want to give away? You want to give away the big secret? We'll let Matt give away the big secret if he wants. Matt
He's typing.
He is typing. This is why you want to be in Discord, listeners. If you're listening to the show, this is why you want to be in Discord. No, we're not gonna give it away today. You can, if you want to give it away, you can give it away, but we're not giving it away.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about now. This is so you're
give
adding
give it away now.
Adding a third secret that you're keeping from me.
Oh, just spill the beans already.
No, wait next week.
Something Australia.
We're not talking. We're not recording next week, are we? It's Turkey Day.
No, yeah, we can't record on Turkey Day.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait 2 weeks then.
I mean,
Matt
would.
Matt has spoken, so he says he's only going to spill the beans if he was on the show, and we have too high of standard to let that happen. So, so you're gonna have to wait 2 weeks now.
Oh, you're so mean.
I am mean. Yeah, that's why I do things the way I do. That's why I'm so good at things.
And this is sober.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. he did say he wanted to go get a beer before we started recording. I'm like, no, don't drink.
But like I said, super excited about it. I think it's going to be a huge game changer for DiegoDev. So that's all I'm putting out there. I'm just putting that out there.
What? I hate you guys.
It'll be huge. It's huge.
Oh my goodness.
What else? Is there any PHP news this week?
Well, I need you to explain something to me, Thomas. Or maybe John can. Can somebody explain to me what's going on with Facebook and the conspiracy around whatever they're covering up?
I have not heard this at all. What are you talking about?
Thomas, you've got to be plugged into this.
Why? Just because it's doom and gloom?
Yeah.
Okay, so the story is...
Tell me you're not.
The link that you have shared here is more inflammatory than I've seen.
Okay.
But that's boing boing. Boing boing is generally very on the far end of left.
Okay. That's fair.
But it was recently found out that Facebook had dropped a PR firm this week or last week that was doing sort of undermining and subterfuge type PR, creating conflict rather than unifying the platform. The headline from Boing Boing is Facebook hired GOP Oppo firm to smear protesters by linking them to George Soros, an anti-Semitic trope. New York Times. And the actual New York Times story isn't as inflammatory. The actual headline of the story they're referencing is "Delay, Deny, and Deflect How Facebook's Leaders Fought Through Crisis." So clearly they didn't think that leading with weird George Soros racism was the key. But right now, Zuckerberg is sort of giving the finger to anyone not in the US who wants to talk to him about Facebook's activity. A bunch of people in the EU want him to testify and give information about nefarious behaviors of Facebook. And he just said he's not going to show up. It's like, no thanks, guys. Which, to be fair,
we're good.
To be fair, I wouldn't either. If somebody were like, listen, we want to investigate you criminally, can you come fly over to England? I'd be like, no, I just don't have the time. Sorry. But there's been a lot of digging into the way Facebook has designed itself to facilitate communication and then destroy communication so that it can sell advertisements. And that the platform, I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious that platforms like Facebook are very negatively affecting people. But we can't get ourselves away from them. And these are corporations that don't adhere to any kind of moral standard with our data or with attracting attention and users and activity. And sort of the natural repercussions have shown themselves, which is, yeah, like there's not a lot of consequences and the stuff they're doing is pretty horrifying.
So, I mean, what's the expectation? Like, what do people think is going to come out of this? Like, people are just going to stop using Facebook, or
no?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure I'm following this story enough where I'm getting my head around it, but
I'm definitely not.
Yeah.
Really, it's going to affect the stock prices a little, but people are using Facebook because they want to use Facebook. They don't care about the problems that are inherent in the system, and you're not going to stop them. I mean, you could say that Mark Zuckerberg is kidnapping the firstborn children of most Facebook users, and as
people are going to go to Facebook and see if their kid was kidnapped,
right? So,
or they'll just reply, "Nope, mine's safe."
Yeah. And there's other concerns too. Stuff like the California wildfire that's going on right now. Facebook has a flag yourself as safe feature. But I mean, that's a feature that they're monetizing. So like in the provision of a public service, they're acquiring monetizable data. Is that morally wrong? I don't know. I mean, we're at the point now, especially with companies like Facebook or these big data firms, where the cyberpunk dystopia of, yeah, we're already in the apocalypse, we just don't notice it, is becoming more and more true. One of the big tropes for cyberpunk is that corporations essentially took over control of what we would consider public interests, public enterprises, like police forces and hospitals and ambulances. And the reality is that, yeah, Kim Kardashian did have a private firefighting force at her house that she was paying to keep her house safe, but her neighbors didn't. And Facebook is providing these public awareness services for if people are okay. They're doing Amber Alert style things, but they're monetizing the whole system as well. So we're in that weird dystopia that the 80s said was going to happen and no one believed. And we just can't see it anymore.
So when you said they're monetizing that feature, do you just mean they're monetizing Facebook and that feature happens to be on Facebook?
They're taking data, and that data goes into the giant pool of all of the data that they use to provide analytics to do advertising. It's just part of the big data monster. You know, there isn't a target people who are replied safe ad campaign yet, but when the private firefighting service wants to advertise to people on Facebook, then targeting people who marked themselves safe during the California fires would be a natural advertising strategy. And there's nothing stopping them from doing that.
Guess what we had happen today? And John witnessed it.
Bad gas.
We talked last week or the week before. I think it was the week before because you were on the show, right, John, where we talked about Timular?
Yes.
So we talked about, I forget who it was, but somebody in our Discord channel I'd recommend taking a look at Timular. And I ended up looking it up. I mean, I did a Google search for Timular. I found Timular. I went ahead and purchased it. I believe I was pretty open about this.
Talked about it on the show.
Got the
Pick them up as a sponsor.
Got the product in, right? I obviously don't have it here to show you, but you know, I've been using it for a little while. And today, it was today, right?
Yep.
Today, an ad popped up on my Facebook feed.
Was it Facebook or Twitter?
It was Facebook.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a Facebook feed to purchase a Timular, or about Timular. And I showed John, I'm like, how the hell is this happening right now?
Yeah. It's creepy, man.
It is creepy. I'm going to hand it to you. I mean, it's happened to me a few times now where it's like, wait a second. I never mentioned that anywhere on time tracking. I never even talk about work on my Facebook feed. That was weird. Super weird. Super weird.
That's why I don't Facebook anymore.
Well, I just took a look at a service called Push Crew. Have you guys ever heard of this?
What is Push Crew?
So when you get the little drop down that says, "Do you want to allow this website to push notifications to the browser?"
Yeah.
Sets up a persistent connection.
Right.
That's doesn't matter what page you're on or if you have the page open, you can be sent a message from that domain now.
Right.
And this app, Push Crew, when you set up campaigns, they give you recommended campaigns. Like if somebody abandons a cart, you can push them a notification that says, "Hey, you abandoned your cart. Do you want to continue shopping?"
Mm-hmm.
But they also push cross-selling.
Why did you sign up for this?
Well, because I implemented it.
You're part of the problem. You know that, right?
Yes. And I make that clear when I implemented it, that I was displeased. But
marketing.
Yeah, I mean, again,
that's a hard one.
It is marketing, but it's a little invasive.
But I had to give you permission to send me push notifications, right?
Yeah.
But you can send push notifications when I'm not on the site.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a persistent system. It's like a notification to your phone. It also works on phones.
But again, I mean, I think a shopping cart is an example of one. Like you forget you have stuff in the shopping cart. You move on. You close the tab, or I don't know. I mean, there's use cases for it. Yes, it can be perceived as evasive or not evasive.
But I want to know how many people are giving you permission to push to their browser.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Specifically you, Thomas. I mean,
I don't have that specific information directly in front of me on the dashboard.
And why? Why are they giving you that permission? Jeez.
That's a lot of people. Wow. Weird. Well,
so hey, before we go,
That's because people click on yes for everything.
Unless you have something.
But I do have. There is a point to this. Is that you can disable even being asked for notification permission.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet.
It's a Chrome flag, and it's in the privacy settings of Chrome. So if you go into Chrome settings, privacy, you're actually able to turn off the requesting permission for location services and for notifications.
Mm.
But the weird part about it is that the on state, so it's a sliding toggle, it's an on or off toggle. When turned on, the text that follows is always ask permission.
Right.
Isn't that what it does now, though?
Right. That's the default state, is always ask permission.
Okay.
So what would you think would happen by toggling that to off?
It would never ask.
When I went to go set it for myself, I thought toggling it off would always allow permission.
What? Why?
Because that's the way it was worded. And I wasn't the only one, too. Several people I was talking to at the time thought, oh, that's weird. The text seems intentionally deceiving.
Mm.
But
okay, so I thought you said you had a point, but that wasn't really a point, so I'm moving on. Hey, Discord channel. How do you guys like the new artwork for PHP Ugly?
Oh, that's right.
We're on a little bit of a delay, so it'll take them. What do you think about it, Thomas?
Uh-huh.
What do you think about the new artwork?
Yep.
How do you feel about the new artwork,
really
Thomas?
Like seriously? What don't you like about it?
Come on, you don't like it?
It's okay not to like it.
I look like a beard with a face.
You're the best representation. You look more real to life than John looks like some Asian guy. And you know
what's wrong with that? I am.
You are. You look like one of those.
Eric looks like he knows I'm not wearing pants.
Which I think by this point we all know this, Thomas.
That's shorts. You look really concerned. I mean, like my dick is actually out or something.
So, for the listeners of the show, I had a friend of mine who he used to work for. He used to work for PlayStation, and then he worked for Cartoon Network for a long time. He's a super talented artist. And I had reached out to him. I'm like, hey, would you mind? Would you think about doing this for me? And like I said, he's a super good friend of mine. So he's like, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. Of course, he remembers me a little younger, a little less hairier. So he drew me as the bald-headed guy that he remembers. But Thomas, I mean, I thought he nailed Thomas, and I thought he did a great job on John. But what was really funny is that I asked him to add something to Thomas, and apparently Thomas didn't even notice it at first until I pointed it out. Oh
no, I noticed it.
Oh, did you?
I just didn't mention it.
And he's like, I told him, I'm like, hey, can you have Thomas say, don't trust your microwave? And he replied to me, he's like, I'm just making sure I understand the phrase correctly. Don't trust your microwave?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't understand. I'm like, don't worry about it. You don't need to understand. So I was very happy you put that in there.
John's picture looks like he runs a window cleaning service that works for free as long as you're hot.
I was gonna go. Actually, I don't know how I was gonna go. Mechanic? No, not mechanic.
I do look very concerned, don't I?
Yeah, like really concerned.
What's Thomas gonna do to me? What's he gonna say?
That's bigger than I thought.
So, anyways, I thought he had done a really good job. A couple people had suggested that we do a little JavaScript and make your quote change to different things. I thought that was.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that too.
I'd love if we had multiple pictures that we could cycle through.
Oh, I don't think listeners would appreciate that too much.
What you should have done is, as we're talking about that, shared the screen.
Oh yeah.
We need to do a better job of
yes, sharing the screen and zooming in on it. Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Because we have so many people watching us live.
I think we have like 4 people watching us right now.
I'm sure they went to the site.
We have 5 people. Oh, man, this is weird. We need to start recording earlier more often.
Are you counting yourself?
We've added viewers. No, well, I closed John's laptop, so we're good. We're adding viewers, man. We're expanding our viewer base.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I will say, if you do watch the YouTube stream, subscribe to it, because if we get to a certain number, we can do more things with the channel. So, I mean, we're way off. I think we have like.
So you gotta get to like 10,000.
No, you need the first level is 1,000. I think we're at like 40.
Oh, we'll be there next week. Sweet.
Yeah. Matt says he's watching on 3 different devices at once.
Come on, Matt. I know you got more devices than that. Come on, just fire them all up.
Now, remember, we were worried about our numbers dropping when Simplecast did its statistics switchover thing.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen that. I
don't think they've done it yet, though, because I thought the switchover was supposed to be part of a whole revamp of the interface, which I haven't seen happen yet.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
He's like, oh, okay.
Take the window yourselves there. Sorry about that, buddy.
Like, no, we really have this many listeners.
Damn it.
I'm sorry, buddy.
We're approaching about 500 listeners per episode, though.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
Too many.
Never. But we only have 7 that we care about. The 7 that contribute to the Patreon.
The rest
Screw
of
those
you
other 493 listeners. Freeloaders. I'm just kidding, 493 listeners. We love you all.
Yeah, those first 120 episodes were just to test your faith. Now we know. 8 people are faithful.
See, look, we have what, Seb and Discord trolling for an apology from us for listening to all the episodes. Listen, we didn't force you to do it, man.
No, and I've apologized several times for that.
I don't know how many times we can say we're sorry we record so much.
We got a really nice shout out from Geek, who is a truck driver driving around the country listening to our unfortunate podcast on the road. So it's really important that if you get into an accident, that you turn off our podcast and put on somebody else's podcast. We
do not want to take responsibility to that.
Yeah,
before emergency services gets to you.
Yeah. We've been contacted by an insurance agency. They said that we're a driving risk. It's not good.
We get mentioned in PHP Architect this month as well.
PHP Ugly did.
Yeah, PHP Ugly got mentioned in PHP Architect.
Really?
Yeah. I'm serious.
As part of an article.
In what light? Like the top 10 worst PHP podcasts?
These people, bad practices and bad people in PHP.
Who not to associate with on the internet.
It was actually very good. The title of the article was leveling up or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it just talked about, like, there's some great PHP podcasts out there now, and we were one of the ones that they mentioned. So I thought that was cool. Super cool.
That is, I'm still intimidated by people listening to us, but
it makes me feel like we should be talking about PHP development a little bit more. Maybe
I was going to ask you, what was your favorite presentation you went to here?
That's a great question.
You know, I am a sucker for JMac, man. I love the way that guy talks. He did that unit testing, or not unit testing, testing talk. That was really good. You know what? We came in on Joe Ferguson's talk there near the end.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. I now wish I'd seen that whole talk. That was good.
Sammy K. Powers, the debug dance.
Sammy, man, Sammy K just kills it every time.
Debug dance.
The debug dance.
Debug dance.
He just went through using Xdebug and PHP Storm, and I mean, I did learn one new thing out of it, but just watching him present is always fun because he's charismatic and just a good speaker overall.
Yeah, and he's so knowledgeable too. Again, a fan. I'm such a fan. That's part of my problem is I end up being such a fan of so many of the speakers here. People like Sammy K, JMac. Yeah.
The one that I liked a lot was Immutability to Save an Ever-Changing World by Andrew Castle.
Missed that one.
He's the organizer of DC PHP.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Right.
But it's things I know, but just the way he put it about using immutable objects was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I should probably do that.
Yeah. There were some good talks.
Did you learn anything about running a conference by attending this one? Because you're coming into this conference with a different perspective than the last time you attended a conference. This is your first after Wave PHP.
I definitely think I have more appreciation for
Eli and Heather do such a great job putting on conferences.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, they've got a lot of experience behind them, and now I think it's their full-time job with One for All events.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said they do 5 conferences a year. I know they do Tech World. They have a gaming convention that they do, and I don't know what the other 2 are. There was another PHP one. Oh, and Coder Cruise. Are they still doing that?
I don't know.
So they're constantly doing this.
Yeah.
Coder Cruise 2019.
Yeah.
Is it from All from One Productions or whatever?
That's a PHP architect.
I know he's looking at it.
All for One Events LLC. The last one they just wrapped up in September 3rd.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're going to do it again.
So we did take a little bit of a different approach, though. Now that you mention that, we did take time to speak to sponsors while we're here, and start.
That's thinking ahead.
Yeah, start to formulate. Say, hey, keep us on your radar for next year. We're coming back. We're holding another. We're holding Wave PHP.
We left this in suspense last time.
Oh, did we? Were we not telling people?
No, we just left it. We ended the last.
Oh, that's right. That's
suspense.
Right. Well, how many suspense things are we going to have? We're going to wrap one up.
Yeah, you can only torture me so much before I start drinking.
It's that you didn't lead into it. You're like, oh yeah, we're doing it again.
Yeah, let's
See,
I go straight into it. Yeah,
I was talking about it in an assumed way, so that I could trick you guys into leaking it.
I tweeted about it on the way out. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have already known that I already posted a little, scribble of John and I going through and planning Wave PHP 2019.
Yeah. So
it was out there. But yeah,
I'm not sure how I missed that.
We talked to a lot of sponsors and just said, hey, we're putting together perspectives. We'd like to make sure we're on your radar for 2019 because the issue we had this year was so many sponsors are like, hey, we didn't know about you. Sorry, we've already allocated all of our funds. Let us know if you do it next year.
Yeah, like when you walk past a homeless guy, you're like, I don't have cash. I just
pretty much. That's what I felt like. I felt like John and I were like little beggars going from table to table. Can you give us money this next year for our conference too? We do a conference that's really nice. It felt odd because you had Eli standing down the hall just looking at us. He knows what we're doing.
Turn your head a little bit. Like, oh, I was caught.
John, is he still there? Is he still looking at me, John? Yeah.
Kind of catching the poachers on the safari.
So, but yeah.
Once again, Eric has his cheeks stuffed full of cheese and crackers. Just,
Yeah, it looks like Wave PHP as it stands right now, it's gonna be happening. John and I are of course doing things a little differently, but
we're tripling the price of tickets.
And requiring child labor to help put things together. It should be fine. I don't see any issues with any of that.
You're required to stay at the host hotel.
Yeah, no exceptions. We'll have hookers. We'll have streetwalkers mainly, but no.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Check that one off.
Drinking.
Oh.
Totally sober. Yeah, John's gonna have a preventative heart surgery. Gonna have a stent put in early.
John will just be sitting in the quiet room the entire time. What was I thinking? Why do I let him do this to me?
We didn't talk about that because that sort of all came together at the conference, but there was a quiet room. There was a sort of a rest and relaxation decompression room at Wave PHP. Yep. And I thought that was a really great idea. And I believe I heard a couple people took advantage of it and really enjoyed it. But that might have just been John.
Yeah, we actually had two rooms. So I mean, again, it could have been used for anything. But yeah, it wasn't an idea.
It was a code of conduct.
But yeah, and that's one of the things. Like when the conference is actually at the hotel where most of the people attending the conference stay, there probably isn't that big of a need for it. But it's one of those things you'd like to have and not use, then not need, then need and not have.
Right. So
it was kind of decided. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead and set this up. But yeah, it was nice.
We'll see how it goes next year.
Yeah, that might be one of the things we cut out. I don't know. All right.
So yeah, you were wrong here. You said we have 7. We have 8 Patreons.
Are you sure?
That's. Mm-hmm.
Wow, then we have one more than I know of.
We have Patreon Sean.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. That one came in this week. Sean. Yeah. And I even messaged him on Discord. My bad, Sean. Man, thank you, Thomas, for coming through on me. Where is that on Discord?
And I believe Patreon Ryan is a new Patreon. Thank you very much.
What about Matthews 13? Is that Sean?
Yeah, that's Sean.
That's Sean. Yes, I did message him this week. Asked if it was okay that we called him out and say thank you for sponsoring us on Patreon. Dude, I apologize for forgetting about you. That is totally on John. This is what happens when I record sober. My brain is just like, it's too foggy. Like there's too many. I need to relax. I need alcohol.
A little Irish mind clearing potion.
Exactly. Man, I feel like a dork.
Well, that's normal.
That is pretty normal, actually. All right, it's late. Look at this.
Late.
Look, my eyes are red, and I've got to be on a plane at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So,
yes.
John and I, we got hours of snuggling to do. It's.
He looks like he's just ready to fall asleep.
I'm always ready to fall asleep. What are you talking about?
All right, man. I assume you got editing duties.
Yeah, I'm actually at a
got
state.
A super fast computer now.
I'm in a state where I can actually go back to editing. So expect a brand new episode to be released sometime around Thanksgiving.
Are you laughing at Discord?
Thanks, Frontal.
Yes, he is, Frontal. Yes, he is.
So Matt wants to know who the big spoon is. I'm just throwing this out there.
Me,
John.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, okay, you guys.
We've got a disabled Discord moving forward. We can't do this show with Discord. Huh?
You've had dinner together this week, I assume.
No, we haven't.
We have not. Why?
It's all about who gets the check. When you say that you're
John always pays.
Okay, so he's the big spoon.
Yeah, I make it very clear that he pays. Yeah, every time. We should be sure of that. Yeah.
Yes, my limited knowledge tells me that would make him the big spoon.
I'm cheap. Yeah.
You're not. You're extraordinarily expensive.
All right,
okay, that's it.
Up. Thank you, everybody.
I'm Eric Fan Johnson.
I'm John Congdon.
I'm Tom Rideout.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly. Woo.
All right. I'll throw this in Dropbox, Thomas, but it might not actually upload until probably until I get home tomorrow.
That's fine. I don't have Dropbox.
Thanks, Discord. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So I saw somebody said that they were listening because we were recording early. Anybody else got to watch live for the first time? Any first timers watching live? Give it a minute. We're on a delay, so it takes a while for it to get to them. But yeah, I'll
don't everyone speak up at once.
I'll put everything in Dropbox for you. And I think I'm going to kill local recording right now.
Well, we might have to record a little earlier then.
Oh, you turned it off. I can hear now.
Oh shit!
Well, you can just turn it back on. You have the recording now.
That's let me turn it back on for a second. Can you hear him now?
Yeah.
I have to have it running so I can hear you, Thomas.
You guys hear about?
Thomas said we should start recording earlier. Maybe I don't know. Maybe when we get to the office. Well, how early can you record, Thomas?
10. Here, so
10.
So 9. So an hour earlier.
What the fuck does that do? That doesn't do shit for us, man. I was thinking like when John and I were in the office together, maybe you could, record. So like maybe if we recorded at like 4, you could record or something.
4? I can't drink at 4.
It'd be 5 o'clock your time.
I work till 6.
Okay, so 5 o'clock your time, you start drinking.
Yeah, man.
You don't have to drink to do the podcast. You realize that, right? It's not a requirement.
No? I'm pretty sure it's in the contract.
You didn't drink tonight?
I know. Are you going to punish me?
Yes.
Guys, the stream is still going.
Oh, shit. Oh, I should. Good night, stream. Nice talking to you guys.